I'm Mark Niu in sunny and serene California, in a very special place that I can't wait to show and tell you all about. But first, I want you to get a glimpse of the beautiful scenery that I am seeing right now. Some very majestic trees that you just caught a glimpse of right there. I'm going to tell you much more, but first I want you to actually guess where I am. Is it A, Yosemite, B, Sequoia National Park, or C, Joshua Tree? Have a think about it and put your guess in the comment zone section. But I'm also going to give you a little hint, or perhaps a really big hint. This is the park's main attraction. It's called the General Sherman. The General Sherman is the biggest tree in the world. It's not the tallest, it's not the widest, but it is the biggest tree in the world based on the volume of its trunk. A few other tree trunks are bigger, some trees are taller, but no other tree has more wood in its trunk than the Sherman tree. The Sherman tree's top is dead, so the tree trunk no longer gets taller. However, its volume keeps increasing. Each year, the trunk grows wider, adding enough wood to equal another good-sized tree. So it's not the tallest tree in the world, but the General Sherman is pretty darn tall in my book. How tall do you think it is? A, 63 meters, B, 73 meters, or C, 83 meters? What do you think? Well, the answer is 83 meters, and that's as tall as a 27-story building, so that is really tall. But unfortunately, we can't get too close because the General Sherman, being so popular, is fenced off, but there are many others that you can get right up next to. I'm going to look. Sequoia National Park's giant forest is home to around 8,000 sequoia trees. Come take a look. In fact, half of the world's largest and longest trees are in this area. You can learn about them inside and out. Absolutely amazing. In fact, they're so tall, over 200 feet, and yet when you look down at its base, their roots are not deep at all. In fact, they only go about 5 feet down, or 1.5 meters. That balance is a bit out of whack, so the #1 cause of death for these trees is actually toppling over, which, as I say that, that's a little bit scary when I'm inside there right now. I think I'll move outside. Some of the trees here have so much character that they get their own name, like this group of 8 trees, which is called the Parker Group, named after former Army Captain James Parker and his family. You can see how majestic they are. In fact, you ever heard the term tree hugging? Well, these trees have been really good to me. Let's give them a hug. And here at the park, there are even trees that you can drive through. That's right, we are here at Tunnel Log, a tree that fell many, many years ago. We don't know how old it was, but now it's a little tunnel where you can go right through. Oh, it says it fell in 1937. Here we go. And to learn more about Sequoia National Park and its many intricacies, I'm meeting up with an expert here. I'm going to meet one of the park's ecologists, Danny Boiano. Nice to meet you, Danny.
Hi, Mark. Nice to meet you too.
How are you? We're meeting at a special place. This is very, very interesting. Let's take a look over here. What is this?
Well, this is a place we call Tharps Log, and it's named after Hale Tharp, who was one of the earliest settlers in the area. He came here in the 1850s and created this cabin attached to this downed giant sequoia log, and was here for a number of years.
Let's see what we have in here. And that looks like, what is that there?
Well, this is the inside of a sequoia log. So giant sequoia, Hale fashioned a picnic table here, and there's a foundation for a bed over there, and there's a window, and you could see the inside of the log is black. So that was probably from the tree burning and falling, and so it was, it wasn't hail that made this black. Probably had fires in here.
Fire plays a very important role, but a lot of protection measures that go in here.
Yeah, so fire is a natural part of the ecosystem. It's been here for a long time. And, you know, sequoias are actually dependent on fire. The cones that hold their seeds, which is how they reproduce, they only open up and release in large amounts from the heat of a fire. So they actually need fire to both release their seeds, and it clears the underbrush on the ground. It clears the soil so the seeds have a place to germinate and grow into a tree.
Can we take a look at some of those cones?
Yeah, there's cones all on the ground right here, you know, some right below our feet. So these are sequoia cones right here. Some, you know, they're not fresh. They're, you know, a couple of years old or older. If we looked around, we could probably see some fresh ones. They're green when they've just fallen, and then they, you know, they turn brown as they get older.
So here, this is a lot of evidence of a, would you call this a big burn scar?
This is a burn scar, yes.
Okay. And it's interesting because we'd be worried about them getting burned down in California's wildfires.
Yeah.
But you also prescribe burns here, right?
Yeah, it is an interesting situation where, as I mentioned before, giant sequoia are dependent on the heat from fire to reproduce, but also fire can be destructive towards them, where if the fire burns too hot, if the fire burns really hot and gets up into the crown of the tree, then even huge monarch sequoias can die as well. And in fact, that happened the last 2 years. In 2021 and 2020, we had 2 very large fires in this area of the Sierra Nevada, and lots and lots of giant sequoias, including large ones, died in the very hot heat of that fire.
All right, we spot something over there. What is that right there, Danny?
That's a mule deer, and it's a native deer in the park. And it's a male. You could see the antlers that are starting to grow on it, the fuzzy antlers. So it's the beginning of their growing season for the antlers. And it's browsing on a ceanothus bush. So they are herbivores. They'll browse different plants. And right now we have a young male browsing on ceanothus.
And are these deer pretty peaceful, or what would you say? How would you describe them?
Yeah, they're very peaceful. They're not aggressive towards people. Their most aggressive thing is the males will fight each other when it's breeding season. You know, they actually have a rut where the males will clash heads and they nail their antlers together, and that's the most aggressive thing they do.
And just look around me. I'm sort of getting surrounded by some kind of insect. Is it A, a fly? B, a gnat? Or C, perhaps ladybugs? Which one is it? I'll give you a second here or two. Well, fortunately, if you can tell from the smile on my face, I'm enjoying them right now because they are indeed C, ladybugs.
To be here right now while all of these hundreds and thousands of ladybugs are hatching at the same time and landing on you, and you can see them flying around, it's pretty darn cool. Even though when one might walk through here, they might not see something, they'll definitely hear something in the form of birds singing or in the form of rodents doing their chirping. And if they get lucky, they might see an American black bear. That's probably the most iconic species that walks around here. We have a big black bear population, and we heard there was one nearby here. We haven't been lucky enough to see it yet.
And listen to all you nature watchers out there. Be patient and good things may happen. Right behind me over there, American black bear.
Don't approach, don't leave any food out because it might come after you. We're taught respectfully to be in awe and fear of bears, but as I watch this one play in a meadow, it's hard not to think of thoughts of just serenity and wonder. Wondrous fauna and obviously some breathtaking flora right before my eyes here at Sequoia National Park. You can just touch it, smell it, sit right next to it. It really makes you think about the beauty surrounding us and how we as humans are just very small cogs in a massive ecosystem, and all responsibility for taking care of it and allowing it to grow and prosper for generations to come.